Welcome back. Coffee and a Podcast with CherylAnn Chapman.
Number 2, podcast 2.
Episode 2.
Episode 2. Podcast 2. No, yeah, episode 2.
Podcast 2.
Some days I just, the rain.
Good morning.
Good morning. I just chill together. Ay. So how are you?
Let's toast.
Hey,
coffee.
How are you?
I
almost spilled my coffee.
How am I? Well, I
I
recently took a trip to Vancouver, Canada.
Oh,
we live so close.
So
I think
beautiful
we talked
over there.
about that. It's like a 2.5 hour
Yeah.
drive and into Vancouver City. And I went to a Christmas night market downtown Vancouver.
Christmas night market?
Yeah, or no, what was daytime,
Cool.
nighttime?
Well, cool. Well,
And
no,
it
that's
was
awesome.
it was a lot of fun. My daughter and I, it was like a bonding, mother-daughter trip. And
Aww.
we got to try new foods we had never tried. And I love going to Canada. And they asked me coming across the border back into the US, what, you only went for lunch? Why? And I'm like, because I can. And I need to, because I need to prove to myself that I can still get up early in the morning, drive across the border, have a nice time in Canada, and come right back.
Isn't that cool?
They're always shocked.
I left into another country.
That's right. And I had a good time.
I got a country today.
I'm a jet setter. Now I'm on a mission to try to do it once a month, or at least.
Canada is so beautiful, Vancouver, and it is super pricey for you guys that are thinking,
Oh, you have?
I love Canada. There's so much to do.
There's not a bad view. There's so many beautiful vistas there.
And I was talking to one of my friends, Raj.
Yeah.
And he was telling me that, different Raj.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the Capilano Bridge. I couldn't remember.
Oh, right.
All of that area, they've totally redone it all.
Yes.
And then you got Bouchard Gardens.
That's a different island.
Yeah, but then you go into Victoria. I mean, but going into Canada itself, but yes.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful over there.
Oh,
so
it is.
I see why people gravitate to
and there's
to
this,
Vancouver.
I've been to their regular art museum, but there's an anthropology museum that I've only been to once, but I have to go back again. I think it's on a university campus. It's
cool.
so amazing the way they cataloged everything and talking about the First Nations people and the totem poles, and it's just Canada. What can I say? There's so much to see.
I love Canada. I had a friend that went over to Canada recently. And she brought me back the Canadian little earmuffs and
I looked for
Canadian maple syrup and little maple candies. And she's like, it's okay, isn't it? And I'm like, yes, of course.
You're like, thanks, Nate.
Yeah, no, that was just so sweet of her. Yeah. It's just a great place. And then if you
neighbors.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
And they give us more for our money.
That is true too. So thank you, neighbors.
Yes, thank you, neighbors.
Have you ever been on the hovercraft? That hovercraft?
No. I've been on the
amazing.
Float plane,
oh wow.
You've been on the hovercraft?
Yeah.
Wow.
We took. This is way before I met you.
Did they still have it?
I don't know. I was gonna say,
I know they still have the float planes that fly over there, which I love.
But
I love flying.
It was pretty crazy. I mean, part of the ride was really good, and then part of it was, those things are moving,
aggressive.
But you just get there just like that.
Yeah.
And that was a great experience. I think that's when we went over to Victoria.
Right.
And then we had tea at the Empress, tea and crumpets.
I've never done that.
And that's really fun.
I've been there, but I've never done that.
You got to do the carriage ride over there too.
I've done the carriage ride.
With the horses?
Yep. I've done that.
That was amazing.
That was
cold,
beautiful.
but that was beautiful. Yeah. So there's several things. That's why I got my enhanced driver's license, a year or 2 years ago?
You went?
So that I haven't. I haven't been there. No, I haven't. Oops, hopefully that doesn't.
Where have I been?
I smacked my speaker. Sorry, people. Just very passionate.
In my squeaky chair.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna have to oil that. Sorry. I'll get that. Our producer, with our producer Alex. I'll get him on that.
Where is he today?
He's not here on this one, but he will be here next time. So.
Anyway,
he had some car stuff to do, but
it's pretty excited.
It's beautiful over there.
Yeah, I can't say enough good things about our neighbor in Canada.
We're just going to have a podcast.
Coffee and a podcast in Canada.
In Canada. Ooh. That would be that'd be a fun spring thing. And then send us your
if
through
you have
our email. So it's coffee and spelled out coffeeandapodcast,
the number 3
at gmail.com. So we would love, I haven't gotten anything yet because we just started posting things. So we do have a lot of people that know about it. But we would love to hear what you guys think.
If you have any inspirational stories you'd like us to share. And I was going to mention a note on that. You know, we might not always have the stories that might resonate with you, or some of our people might be controversial to our listeners, but we hope that you'll like some of them. And if you do, you do. If you don't, you don't. Well, I mean, you can't please all the people all the time.
No, this is true. And we just got into a whole discussion about that, my brother and I, Chris, because everything is controversial if you think about it. And you can't take away, even Oscar talking about, you can't take away all the history.
Right.
So if you have people that become tarnished because they really have done diabolical things, it needs to go to a museum, because we need to not forget that and make sure we don't repeat history.
That's exactly
so
right.
I'm okay if you move them, but we have to acknowledge that things, or we should acknowledge it, because we don't have to do anything, 100%. But I think we should acknowledge history. If we forget it, then we're just doomed to keep repeating it. And we need to learn from our mistakes and remember that it's really real. Because I think if it's out of your mind,
you think it didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
Hey, that never happened.
Yeah, like, oh, you're just telling me a story.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
And
you made that up.
Exactly. So,
but you didn't.
I didn't. It really happened. So
that's a good point, Cheryl.
Yeah,
I like that.
So we just don't want to forget that. And then what inspires you inspires me. Well, we're kind of inspired by a lot of the same things, but we might have something that might not inspire you, but you just like to listen along.
Yeah.
And then there might things that really resonate with you. Yeah. The gentleman I'm going to be speaking about.
Yeah, that's going to be heavy.
Boy, it's
I can't wait to hear
there's
about
just
this.
So much to this person, and I feel like I'm going to be squirrel because I'm going to be all over the place.
That's okay.
He's amazing. So I guess with that said, that's a great segue.
Ooh,
we're going to jump right into this.
Love it.
So I chose to talk about Maynard.
Okay.
He has a book out called No Excuses. Okay. And I haven't read it, but I've listened to the whole book. So like we chatted before, I do audio because I'm in my car a lot. And it enables me to get through the stories a lot faster. And then I can replay back. I still do use the book and do the notes on the book, but it's just a great way where if I can't be reading, I'm at least listening. And this is a true story. I'm going to read right here. He's a congenital. I want to make sure I said that right.
That's right.
Amputee who became a champion in wrestling and in his life. So I have notes because this man has done so many amazing things that I could not begin to remember all of it.
That's incredible.
He actually he's actually born a year after my daughter. So he was born March 24th in 1986, and he was born in Sweeney. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. Forgive me, you people in Georgia. He was born there, and he was the parents were Scott and Anita.
Okay.
And this was their first child. Aww. And if you think back in 1986, I remember 1985. I never had ultrasounds with my daughter. Yeah. They didn't do ultrasounds unless there was something that was going on.
Right.
And they obviously didn't do any ultrasounds with Anita. And they did all the measurements. So, you measure, they do the measurements, and, and they can figure out that way on how everything's growing, and everything seemed to be right on track and whatnot. So when he was born, it was like a huge shocker to the parents, Scott and Anita, and being their first one. You always want to make sure the baby's healthy, because you want to help the baby to suffer and things like that. You've got all your own.
Exactly.
He was born with not wrong, but so he was born basically. What they were saying is they thought that when they were doing their testings, it's very normal for this part, your forearm, to be hidden back, or the bottom part of your leg to be hidden back.
Okay.
In ultrasound. So you're gonna see Well, I'm trying to think how they did that, because they were saying they didn't do the ultrasounds, but they must have done some type of ultrasound measuring where they didn't have probably the imaging like we have now, but everything was measuring up to be perfect. But I guess they never saw the forearms and your leg down below, right?
So he was missing both.
So he was missing both bottom parts of his legs and both of his arms. So he had like little just kind of feet. And so when they whisked him away, they immediately are like, "Oh my goodness, something must be wrong."
Yeah.
And then they came back in and they showed him to the parents. And of course, these parents are amazing.
Oh, wonderful.
So encouraging. So they instantly said, "Well, let's just chop off his feet so that so he could fit into prosthesis better." And the parents were like, "No, I don't think that's the right choice. Let's just go with it." And Kyle is super excited that they didn't, because I can't imagine prosthesis he felt that made him crippled. It's really hard to have them fasten on and stay on. They're uncomfortable. Yeah. And he actually ran around on all fours. So he was able to work himself to where more like animals. He was able to go really fast and maneuver that way. Let me tell you, this guy can do anything. He can write. It's amazing, all the stuff that you think, because I don't know if you can see, that's what his the bottom of his arm looks like. And he can write like the best of them. Right up here, Arnold Schwarzenegger says, "No excuses will really pump you up. Kyle is a real deal and is one of the most inspiring people I've ever met." So this book goes through his whole wrestling and how he got started in wrestling. Yes, wrestling.
Nice.
Which is amazing. He started out in football, if you can imagine, football. But he ended up not, as he grew bigger and with all the apparatuses, it just didn't work well for him. And so he used to play hockey. He really wanted to play hockey. He played street hockey with his friends. Nice. And he was very blessed, because the way the parents, their nucleus was in their faith, they treated him just like any other child. Like, "You can do it. We'll figure it out. Let's make apparatuses to, make this happen." And he had such, what's the word I want to say?
Great support.
But his thought, he just like a lion. Like actually he has a tiger on his arm that symbolizes it was just a go-getter. He never, because of the sport he had, he never thought he could fail. I mean, he would
makes sense.
try again, but he's like, he would never use it as an excuse. He just like, "No, I'll figure a way to figure it out." And that's how, I think it was the 6th grade, his mom called the coach and said, "I'd like to introduce my son. I would like him to wrestle. And then, by the way, he has no arms or legs. Would like you to meet up with us." And Ramos is his coach, was like, "Oh, this is going to be interesting." Ramos was so inspirational for him. So what he did for Kyle did for him. He never wanted to disappoint his coach. This, as you go through here, it breaks it down. There's so many cute little pictures of him. You probably can't see, but that's him as a little one.
Oh God, he's cute.
He's just adorable.
Well, his resilience.
That's the word I'm looking for.
He didn't know any different. So I think that helps when you don't know any different. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
He was born this way, and he took what he had, and he worked with it, and he's a wonderful, amazing human.
And when you have your friends that accept you, I mean, his friends, I was listening at the very end where I know I'm squirrel a moment, but his friends were so true to him that when they went to do this, like a Disneyland, like a Six Flags, and there were some challenges with it. I won't go into that, but he wanted them to all go have a good time. And they're like, "No, you can't do it. We're not doing it."
Oh, that's nice.
It's like, it's all of us. It's like, all of us or none of us.
Yeah.
And So within that, I wanted to mention that he has such a long list of things he does. So right now he's a motivational speaker. Wow. He is the owner of No Excuses CrossFit Gym.
Nice.
Which is awesome. His awards were in 2004, ESPY, the best disabled athlete, national wrestling, and the best disabled athlete, because he actually did a contest where he had to butterfly press, and that's, again, they had to come up with all these different type of weight systems. The dad had to figure it out. Sure. It was like 250 pounds.
Wow.
That he had to do the butterfly thing.
Wow.
And then he's in the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. He was the GNC's World's Strongest Teen, a President's Award for the Sports of Humanitarian Hall of Fame, the U.S. JC's Top 10 Outstanding Young Americans, and then in 2012, the ESPY Male Athlete with Disability. It just like goes on. It just amazes me. So that didn't stop there. So he actually, I have it because, like I said, there's so much to him. Out of 145 matches, this is his missed martial arts record. He had 100 wins and 45 losses.
Okay.
So opponents would get on the mat with him and go, "Oh, this could be a cakewalk." Oh no. He had such a fighting spirit.
He had some moves.
He had moves. He created moves because he had to use his head.
And when you're smaller too, you have a different kind of conceptual space, that you can use in martial arts too.
Yeah, he was like 4 foot tallest. And
more wiggle room for sure.
Oh yeah,
when you're smaller.
When you're smaller, he had a different advantage, but then the disadvantages. So there's advantages and disadvantages. But when I was reading about this, when he went to the States, I mean, so he wrestled for 7 years. I mean, he went out to high school, and he was like at the top of his game. He just missed going to the state by, I think, like just a couple points. He had. So what had happened is people got word and knew that he had been playing, and someone had broke his nose. Oh. So the disheartening thing is people use that to their advantage. So they kept smashing him in the nose, so that would get him, a lot of pain and disoriented and stuff like that. Yeah. But it'd be like 5-3. I mean, so he would just block the pain. I mean, he's got blood running down his throat. Wow. The man is just amazing. And then in this book, which I thought was really cool, his regimen is intense. So for anybody that wants like a really intense workout, just read the book and it'll tell you. But back here, he has a diet and exercise regime, and it talks about all like off-season diet for muscle building, building the lean phase. So he figured out what to eat, when to eat, how to eat, you need to eat, and how a lot of the other athletes would not eat, and how he took that all. He had everything broken down. I mean, this guy just amazes me. And then talks about the explanation of different benefits like to that. And here in the back of it tells his whole exercise schedule and what he did. And
very disciplined.
But his whole thing doesn't stop there. He is the first person in his category to actually climb Kilimanjaro.
Oh my God.
So he did that with no assist. And I think there's a little photo in here of him. There's a little tiny one here without prosthesis. He's climbing. Look at this. He's climbing up that mountain, and they rigged it. I remember listening to him actually do one of his inspirational things. And he talks about how challenging that was, because here you're climbing and you had to have these little round things made that can grip, because he doesn't have the hands to climb up, and he's with these people. So that I didn't get a chance to see how long it took him to climb that. I'm going to look, but that was just totally amazing. And
an amazing guy.
Yeah, so it says a climb intended to raise awareness for wounded American military veterans, including a team consisting of former members of the U.S. military with injuries and conditions, including, the shrapnel wounds, post-traumatic stress. The mission also donated $25,000 worth of medical supplies to this. I'm not going to be able to pronounce that name. What is that?
Oh, me either.
Yeah, it's a school for the blind in Tanzania. So this guy just continued, something like that. He just continues. So from the day he was born, he's had this fighter personality. He's had amazing parents that, as you read this book, I can't wait to read it or listen to it. It's amazing because it walks you through how challenging it was, and how when they had to move and go to a different school, how he was really, scared, because you know how people can be. They can be cruel, and you don't have any type of disabilities. Right. And I remember from one of his public speaking, he was talking about how there were certain things his mom would do for him, like put the socks on, and because he, like I said, refused to use the prosthesis and things like that. And he had a friend coming over, and the parents were like, "Oh, crud, I forgot, that I need to get home because he's going to have someone come pick him up." And he was panicking. "Mom, where are you? I need you to come help me do this one little," because that was harder when you were younger, because you have to actually use your teeth and pull him up. And he just, that part they did to be easier for him, but he learned how to use a spoon and all that kind of stuff. But she's like, "I can't be there." And he panicked. Oh. And then he figured out, I'm trying to remember how he found something else to hook onto it, and then put that in his mouth, and then pulled it up, and he got it all done just as his friend had come to pick him up. But if you think, it made me like, I get the chronic migraines, and thinking about what this guy goes through on a daily basis, it blew me out of the water. And then back here, they had some in the book I thought was really cool. I should just read a couple of them really quick. I'll get my other better glasses. He put in here frequently asked questions. And so he goes, it says, one of the questions, "Where do you go to school?" "I'm a sophomore at the University of Georgia, majoring in broadcast news." That was when this was used. He goes, they said, "Can you use chopsticks?" "No, but I don't think, I haven't even tried." So there's certain things, but give him that challenge. I'm sure he'll do it. "How can you play video games?" Oh, that was another thing. He would blow people out of the water because he would be playing video games. He goes, "I use my right foot to hit the trigger on the Xbox controller and my arms to manage the top buttons." Nice. "How do you eat spaghetti?" "By twirling it up on a fork like everyone else." Yeah. So "Can you pump gas?" "Only if there's a friend in the car to help." "What are your favorite movies?" "Braveheart," "Fight Clubs," "Saving Private Ryan."
Does he drive?
That's a very good question. I needed to learn more about him, because there's, I couldn't get all of that. Amazing. No, he does. What am I saying? Because in there, oh my God, in there they talk about retrofitting a car because he just needed the leg part modified for him to be able to hit the pedals and that. So no, he does. "What is your favorite song?" "Eye of the Tiger." He's got a tiger tattoo. "What is your favorite band?" Chevelle, Tool, and Linkin Park. His favorite actors are Brad Pitt, Mel Gibson, and what is that guy's name? Jim Caviezel?
I know. I recognize
that.
Not
pronouncing
name.
that right. No, sorry. Caviezel?
Is that an R? Wait, let me see
it.
No, it looks right. I think you're saying it right.
Okay. Well, sorry, people, if I'm not getting it right. His favorite actress is Salma Hayek. I love her. Yeah. Hilary Duff and Eva Mendes. Yeah. His favorite books are the Bible, Winning the Future, and Dune. His favorite city is Athens, GA, which is Georgia, right? Right. what are your favorite sports teams? He likes the Atlantic Falcons and the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah.
And then his top male athletes are Andy Roddick, Valvar Arlington, Scott Steffens, Shaquille O'Neal, and Dave Myra. Myra, I believe that pronounced it right. And then his top female athletes are Maria Sharapova. Did I get that right? Okay, tennis, yeah. Amanda Wire, Mia Ham, Michelle I don't know some of these. I'm sorry. Sherry Lowy. Yeah, I don't know those. But and then he goes on, like talks about sports. His favorite colors, turquoise. His favorite. He did invent a whole bunch of different moves, but his favorite move is called the Jap Whizzer.
What is that?
I don't know. I'll have to find out.
Okay.
Favorite food is guacamole dip. Favorite drink is Mountain Dew. Oh yeah, he talks about Mountain Dew.
Oh, Mountain Dew's not
good Mountain Dew. I know. What is your favorite ice cream flavor? Cookie dough. His favorite game is Texas Hold'em. And his favorite pizza topping is mushrooms and sausage. Good man. I love sausage and mushrooms.
What a guy.
And his long-term goals were to graduate from the University of Georgia with a degree in broadcast news.
Okay.
Which I believe he did, and then he did the public speaking.
Okay.
The no excuses method is his thing. But
you've been through what he's been through.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So it just made my mouth drop. And then all of my sources come from the Wikipedia. They label out like 42 different references. So if you do want to see any of the details, it's from Wikipedia. And then of course, his book written by him. And then there's so many different things in here on different people that have given him affirmations. And he was one of the top state wrestlers. And then it just is amazing. It just goes through so much detail. Kyle Maynard, No Excuses. So check out the book.
Yeah, I'd like to.
Hopefully it will inspire you like it does me. It makes me think twice when I'm like, that I'm like,
yeah, that's right.
He can do it.
There's so many people with disabilities that do remarkable things every day that just blow my mind, and their drive and their resilience and
the key piece of dedication that his parents, his family, his grandma, grandpa are always at all of his matches. Yeah. The mom and dad, the dad for always figuring out a way to make things happen and create new apparatuses for him. Yeah. And that's why he does the CrossFit. He's got No Excuses CrossFit that he owns. And it's just very amazing. So he's only 38? Doesn't talk about his private life. I'm sure he has, a lot of people that he hangs with and whatnot, but it doesn't go right. I couldn't really find much about like if he's dating or anything like that, but he has a great spirit, is a good looking man. Yes. He's one I would like to meet. Okay. Because just the energy that comes off of him.
How did you learn about him?
Through our real estate.
Oh, okay.
So we pick up books all the time on different people. Yeah. And so I came across him. I actually knew about him in the different business venture that I was in. Okay. And so we like to make sure that we're
motivation.
If you sit and all you're watching or listening to is reality. Now don't get any haters here. I mean, reality TV has its time and place, but it's, to me, I have to think about what am I putting in my brain?
That's exactly right.
What am I absorbing in?
Putting in, putting out. Putting out.
So if I put in a bunch of, people that are being negative and all that, it's just going to make you negative. So
it's true.
What I usually have on is all about, selling real estate, flipping, design. Oh my gosh. And then anything like inspirational, but
cooking.
And cooking's great too. So and then that way it just makes me
motivated,
and it
when you
just
hear
keeps me
success
happy.
stories, and that's what Cheryl and I talk about, and that's
that's why we have
story.
Coffee and a Podcast.
Yeah, great story.
So check them out.
I'd love to, for sure.
Yeah.
And segueing into some motivational things, we like to clip quotes and do a riff on them
at our closing out on
and I think this is you can take it or leave it.
I haven't heard this one yet, so I'm
she
going to be surprised along with you guys.
You can't keep getting mad at people for sucking the life out of you if you keep giving them the straw.
What did we do? That's a perfect segue.
I thought that was kind of funny.
Okay, can you read that one again?
Yes. You can't keep getting mad at people for sucking the life out of you if you keep giving them the straw.
Wow. Now that one, is that. Yeah,
that hits hard.
Hits home.
Yeah,
hits home. Okay,
and this one hits home for me. Everything is super important until you are sick. Then you realize there was only ever one thing that was important: your health.
Oh,
but nonetheless, we borrow from the bank of our health, taking loans of stress and sleepless nights to pay for something that doesn't really matter. And I know that from experience. For me, you don't really know what's important until you're sick and you have no energy. And the only energy you have is to deal with the things at hand that are important, and the rest just fall by the wayside. Someone asked me the other day, how do you deal with stress now? And I said, well, since I had been sick, I think that a lot of that stress just falls away. So I can really relate to this. And my sources for these two quotes are from Positive Energy _plus.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And my other one was from Aubrey Marcus, a gentleman by the name of Aubrey Marcus on Instagram, about the when you're sick. I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah, and it's like the whole house thing. Mm-hmm. So when the house comes crashing down, it's like you're just happy you get out.
You're happy to be alive.
Yeah. And without any, I've got my post-traumatic stress on that, let me tell you.
Yes.
But, we glass was everywhere. We were barefooted,
you're
thank you.
A miracle.
So you do look at things differently. And then
reprioritize.
Reprioritize. So
sure.
That's what it's all about. So we thank you for being a part of our.
Thank you for listening.
Second
episode 2.
Yes.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Going into 2024, and we'll be back with a little microsode in a minute.
Yeah.
But anyway. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Hola.
Make it a good one.
That's right.
Bye.
Be kind. Be kind.
Absolutely. Be kind.
Be kind.